that they're looking to target Caitlin Clark. We got some tweets to go over, but what's first is we got a bit of negotiations for the WNBA actually signing to this Saudi-backed.
This whole situation is straight up insane. The Saudi-backed league just dropped their first huge move, and people aren't realizing this could completely flip the WNBA upside down. We're talking unlimited funds here. No salary cap, no spending limits, just endless stacks of cash coming after the biggest stars in women's basketball. And the wildest part, the WNBA might have accidentally helped them pull this off. By the time this unfolds, you'll see exactly why Caitlin Clark could be staring at a paycheck that makes her Nike deal look like spare change. It's that serious. Now here's where things really get crazy. A former MVP just signed with Project B, the Saudi Women's League, while the WNBA is still in the middle of hammering out their collective bargaining agreement. That's like your top employee walking across the street to your biggest rival while you're still debating their raise. The timing couldn't be more chaotic, but hold on.
Clark can put exclusivity on her contract. Oh my God. I'm fascinated by the question of how much the Saudis would offer her. By example, Canelo Alvarez signed a $400 million deal. I told y'all, when it comes to your majesties, they have no budget. What do you say? Center just made $6 million for simply playing 3 exhibition games. John Raheem's Live Golf signing bonus was $400 to $600 million. Oh, come on. There's more example and could be clear. All of the above feature. I'm telling you right now, man. This is significant because I'm not even trying to pronounce his name. Has already been reported to involve with Project B. And in addition, Shaq let it slip in the panel discussion.
It gets even shadier. None of the salaries are public. Everything's sealed tight. No numbers, no transparency, just whispers about life-changing money floating around. And when it's Saudi money, that could mean anything. Here's the setup. Project B wants 66 total players, 16 teams, 11 women each, and every single one of them is getting paid more than the WNBA's max salary. But this move isn't just about big checks. It's about power. They're offering equity stakes in the league itself, actual ownership. That's generational wealth right there. The WNBA can't even touch that, especially while they're still stuck arguing about revenue splits. Meanwhile, the Saudis are tossing out slices of the entire operation like it's nothing. You know what that does to a negotiation? It doesn't just mess it up, it obliterates it. Now watch how the money conversation really went down. The money was too key to her decision. That's the quote. And you gotta really think about what that means. This isn't about fair pay or equal value anymore. This is about being offered so much money that saying no would almost be financially foolish. When that kind of bag hits the table, it's not a negotiation. It's domination. The Saudis have played this game before.
We're going to talk about this story right here because this story caught national attention. Then we're going to get into this whole connection between Caitlin Clark. Now, it goes on to say, with CBA talks, Simran Agumomike signs a new Project B deal, man. Former WNBA MVP, sorry, Sinead's her sister, Anika Agumomike has signed a contract with Project B, the first player who is known to have joined the latest professional women's basketball league ahead of the 2026 season.
Live Golf handed out contracts worth hundreds of millions. Cristiano Ronaldo's deal, it's basically equal to a small country's entire economy. They don't talk numbers, they drop them like bombs. They don't bargain, they overwhelm. And here's what most people haven't realized yet. This new women's league runs from November to April, right when the WNBA season is off. Technically, that means players could pull double duty, play both leagues without breaking any rules. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the catch. What happens when the Saudi league decides they want exclusivity? What happens when they start stacking zeros on those contracts until saying no isn't even an option? That's when everything starts to crumble. Now we're talking about the nuclear option. Project B could literally end the WNBA with one move, signing Caitlin Clark to an exclusive deal. And before you say that sounds impossible, check out the numbers being whispered around. We're hearing about exhibition games paying $6 million each, signing bonuses soaring past $400 million, and no spending limits in sight.
And I suspect the pockets of Project B are quite endless. What have I told y'all? Endless. There is no safety on this clock, baby. They is about to open the bag. Hell, bro, they could take, bro, they so rich, they could damn near start an NFL league. The Saudis got the bag. I don't know why it's so hard for y'all. Think Caitlin Clark ain't finna do this? You're tripping. You're tripping. Somebody said, check my timeline, brother. I called it first. Clark is getting...
This isn't sponsorship cash. It's sovereign wealth. Straight up government money from one of the richest nations on the planet. So the real question isn't if they'll offer Caitlin the deal. It's how much it'll take to make her say yes. And here's where the mind games start getting seriously wild. Notice how he's breaking down her stock value. That's a big deal because Caitlin's market heat has cooled just a bit since college. The wild hype, the rookie season chaos, all that talk about her physical matchups, plus the nonstop media buzz, it's all started to weigh on her negotiating power. But here's the crazy twist nobody's catching. That might actually make her more likely to take the Saudi offer. When your stock slips in one place, you start searching for a market that still sees your shine. And the Saudis, they're not buying based on today's stats. They're buying her global name, her brand, her face sells tickets, headlines, and highlight reels worldwide. That's way bigger than just numbers on a scoreboard. Caitlin Clark is still the most recognizable name in women's basketball. Period. That kind of fame is worth a fortune. So when people scoff and say she won't land a $100 million deal,
like other players in this league will get undisclosed. Guys, the money is undisclosed. And an equity stake in the league, Project B officials have said the 66 players who they want for the league, the format calls for 6 teams for 11 women each, will receive larger salaries than those currently of the WNBA. And my guess will be, they're giving them $1 million. See, when your majesties, yes, your majesties, get involved, he has...
They're thinking like the WNBA does. The Saudis, they don't think in limits. They think in statements. A $10 to $20 million deal. That's the realistic projection floating around. But that number alone is devastating for the WNBA. Think about it. The current max salary in the league is roughly $240,000. Project B could be offering up to 80 times that amount. You can't compete with that. You can't spin equity deals or legacy talk to cover that kind of gap. And it gets even messier. The WNBA just extended their CBA talks because they can't agree on revenue sharing. Meanwhile, Project B is out here printing contracts like it's nothing. The contrast is brutal. One league is arguing over scraps from limited revenue, while the other is funded by a government sitting on $1 trillion GDP. This isn't just competition anymore. It's a hostile takeover disguised as a fresh new league launch. Did you catch that timeline? The first official season of Project B kicks off this November and runs straight through April 2026. That's just 8 months away. They're not crawling to the start line, they're blasting off at full speed. And the fact that this schedule doesn't clash with the WNBA season, that's not luck. That's cold, calculated strategy. See, they're not trying to make players choose right now. They're playing the long game. Step 1, offer easy supplemental income. Let players stack some extra cash during the offseason. Step 2, get them comfortable. Step 3, get them dependent. Once those checks start landing and those bank accounts start growing, it's game over. Then, when the league is stable and pulling views worldwide, that's when the exclusivity clauses roll in. Suddenly, players are hooked on paydays worth 10 times what they make in the WNBA. Before anyone realizes it, the WNBA becomes the side hustle, and Project B becomes the main show. That's how you crush a league, without firing a single shot.
Salary to blow this thing up. Ding, 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 ding. John the Liquidator is available for interview. Hey, I'm available, your majesties. If you need me for anything, I ain't lying. If you need me to make 100 videos a day about Project B, I am here at your disposal, your majesties. Just cut the check. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm feeling. Because they got an undisclosed amount of money, and y'all think they ain't. Bro, Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in all of women's sports. Now, do I think she gonna get 100 mil? No. But do I think she could get 50? No. Do I think she...
Now here's where it gets real wild. The conspiracy angle is no joke. Shaq's involved, Turkish investors are in the mix, and Saudi royalty is backing it. These aren't basketball heads trying to build a fun new league. These are global power players using basketball as a strategic tool. And when people with that kind of wealth and influence step in, the game rules don't just bend, they disappear. No salary cap, no budget worries, no ticket sales stress. The money doesn't come from fans or TV ratings, it flows from government-level wealth. This is sports washing with limitless resources, and they're not chasing just any players. They're hunting the ones who can shift global attention overnight. And who's at the top of that list? Caitlin Clark. She's the golden ticket, American spotlight, young audience pull, and mainstream crossover fame. If they sign her, Project B doesn't just launch, it becomes legit overnight. Endless pockets, and that's not hype, that's cold truth. The Saudi Public Investment Fund controls over $900 billion in assets. They've already snatched up LIV Golf, grabbed stakes in Formula One, and own entire soccer clubs across Europe. Basketball? That's just the next domino falling into place. And here's what should have the WNBA sweating. The Saudis don't even need this league to make a profit. They're not chasing break-even charts or 5-year plans. They're building global influence and sports credibility. Losing money doesn't faze them. Not when the real goal is power and presence on the world stage. Meanwhile, the WNBA has to stay profitable just to survive. That's the difference. Project B could lose billions and still call it a win because their mission isn't about making cash, it's about making waves. How do you fight against an opponent who can bleed money forever and still win? You don't. That's an unwinnable battle.
Been around this. We need to blow this up. We need to blow this up. April to November. This is going to be the biggest thing. Smoking. They cutting the checks, bruh. Now, that would not interfere with the WNBA season, but it's going to put the WNBA out of business. And to me, I think it might, man, they're not going to have an off season probably, guys, because the WNBA started in May. Now, if your team don't make it to the playoffs, then, you'll have a little off season. I think it might conflict with players being able to.
Now let's bring it back to Caitlin Clark because the numbers floating around her name are getting downright wild. Some people are whispering about $1 billion deal. Yeah, that's extreme. But $50 million? That's not far-fetched when you see what's already happened. Cristiano Ronaldo's Saudi contract was worth over $200 million per year. Sure, Caitlin's not Ronaldo in global fame, but she's the biggest name in women's hoops. And she's American. That's exactly the market they're trying to crack wide open. A $50 million contract over 3 years, with equity stakes and marketing bonuses. That's not a dream. That's probable if they're serious about making noise. And here's the real kicker. She wouldn't even have to ditch the WNBA at first. She could play both, double her money, stack generational wealth, and then decide where her full loyalty lands later. So here's where things hit the breaking point. If Caitlin even entertains that kind of deal, it doesn't just shake the WNBA. It sends shockwaves through the entire sports world. Imagine the headlines, the sponsorship chaos, the debates on every sports show for weeks. Overnight, she'd become the face of a global tug of war. One side fighting for tradition, the other flashing life-changing checks. And that's exactly what Project B wants. They're not just chasing basketball stars. They're chasing cultural icons who can flip the narrative. The Saudis understand that influence is the new currency. They're not building a league for fun. They're buying credibility, one superstar at a time. Now think about what happens next. If one major player jumps, others will follow. Fast. The veterans who've been underpaid for years, they'll be first in line. The rising stars looking for exposure and respect, they'll take the call too. Before long, the WNBA's talent pool starts draining. Not because players want to leave, but because financially they can't afford not to. Meanwhile, sponsors, broadcasters, and media networks will have to pick sides.
Clark is the biggest name in all of women's sports. Now, do I think she's going to get $100 million? No. But do I think she can get 50? No. Do I think she can get 10 to 20? Yes. Oh, hell yes. They going to get, because we got to realize this. When it comes to Caitlin, her stock kind of went down a little bit. We all could agree on that. Hell, if you can't see Caitlin Clark's stock that went down, you lying to yourself. Now, had this been last year or the year before, do I believe Caitlin would got upwards 50 to 100 million? Yes. She definitely would have got 50 to 100 million. Right now, about 10.
Do they stick with the WNBA or chase the global wave Project B is creating? That's where things get messy. Because money doesn't just move athletes, it moves entire industries. And here's the real twist. This isn't just about women's basketball anymore. This is about who controls the future of women's sports. The Saudis are making a statement. If we can take your stars, we can take your spotlight. And the scariest part, they've got the cash to back it up every single time. So yeah, the WNBA is at a crossroads. And the next move from Caitlin Clark could decide which side of history the game lands on. One signature could flip the entire balance of power. Forever. Now picture what happens if Caitlin actually signs that deal. The sports world would explode overnight. News outlets, podcasts, and social media would lose their minds. Every headline would scream her name, not just as a player, but as the one who changed the entire power dynamic in women's basketball. This wouldn't just be a contract, it'd be a cultural earthquake. The Saudis would have done what nobody else could. They'd turn women's basketball into a global spectacle with one move. And that's the thing. This isn't just a money play, it's a message. They're showing the world that influence can be bought, built, and branded. One player, one signature, and suddenly every league on earth is paying attention. Meanwhile, the WNBA front office would be scrambling. Sponsors would start rethinking their investments. Players' agents would get flooded with calls from Project B's recruiters. Every athlete would start asking the same question, what am I really worth? And that's when the domino effect starts. Once one big name jumps ship, the rest follow like clockwork. You can't fight unlimited money with loyalty speeches and social media hashtags. The WNBA's strongest defense has always been pride and purpose. But when you're staring down a $50 million check, that's not just a deal, that's freedom. That's generational wealth. Now, here's where the narrative flips. Because if Project B lands Caitlin Clark, it's no longer just about Saudi money. It becomes about American identity, women's empowerment.
But we're going to get into Caitlin later. We got to talk about this. It says why the financial specifics haven't been disclosed of the Pacific money amount, but the more lucrative compensation comes in an important moment for women's professional basketball. As the interest in the sport has soared in recent years, the WNBA and players' unions are locked in intense negotiation. Now, we do know that they received a 30-day extension from Kathy over the collective bargaining agreement, and much despite centered on salary and revenue sharing. Now, in an interview with the Associated Press, the 35-year-old Aguma Mike said that the compensation package was the key to her signing. Guys, she said the money was the key.
And who really controls the future of the game? The debate won't just be about sports. It'll spill into politics, culture, and media. And once that happens, there's no going back. The WNBA can't ignore it, fans can't unsee it, and players can't unhear the numbers. One signature could rewrite the story of women's basketball forever, and the world would be watching every single second. They're not just going up against another basketball league, they're facing off with a sovereign wealth fund that sees basketball as a strategic weapon, not a business. This isn't competition. This is psychological warfare. Every single day, the WNBA delays those CBA talks. Project B starts looking more and more tempting. Picture it. A WNBA player speaks out about salary issues or complains about travel. Within days, a Project B scout slides in with a blank check and a smile. That's power. The leverage has completely flipped. The Saudis don't wait for negotiations, they create them. And if Caitlin Clark signs, even for $10 million, the floodgates open instantly. Every other WNBA star starts asking, why haven't they called me yet? That's when it's over. The league doesn't just lose one player, it loses control of every negotiation from that moment on. Now here's what's coming next. Project B's playing it smart. They'll keep scooping up players quietly, one by one, until they've got a lineup packed with big names. Then, boom! They'll drop a massive global marketing campaign, unveil their roster, and completely hijack the sports news cycle. Every outlet will be talking about it non-stop. The WNBA will try to fight back with the same old message. It's about legacy, not money. But that line crumbles fast when the money gap is this outrageous.
Heard the bag up front. Hey, you know what? Bro, y'all ain't see Lil Wayne when he said that, bro, he had trouble at the airport, and Your Majesty said, you know what? I am sorry. This is ridiculous. What color Lamborghini do you like? Red, blue, or black? Lil Wayne said, I want the black one. And that's probably what she said. He probably said, you know what, Shanae? Why, don't negotiate with them. Come on over here. How much do you need? 10 or 5 million or 1 million? I'll take the 10. I'm telling you, dog, that's how this thing is going, man. Now, the Project B plans to play an inaugural season through April 2000. And guys, it's going from November to April. My goodness, during the off season. Guys, this is...
Because when someone's offering 10, 20, or even $50 million, it stops being about pride and starts being about life-changing security. So now we're left with one burning question. What happens if they offer Caitlin Clark $20 million to go exclusive? Does she take it? And if she does the WNBA even survive that blow? Let's be real. This could change the future of women's basketball forever. So what do you think? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. This story's just getting started, and you won't want to miss what comes next.